Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another Switzerland Destination Spotlight. Today, we're going to be chatting all about Montreux Riviera. And my guest is Martina Fuhrer from Montreux Riviera Tourism. Hello, Martina. How are you today?
Hello, Caroline. I am very well, thank you very much. Thank you. I'm all excited to be with you today.
Wonderful. Well, yes, I'm sure everyone watching is really excited to hear more about your beautiful destination in Switzerland. So would you like to start by telling us whereabouts the Montreux Riviera is?
Oh, with great pleasure. So we are actually based in French-speaking Switzerland on Lake Geneva. So we are on the western part of Switzerland, and easiest to reach us is if you fly into Geneva, then it's just a 1 hour ride to reach Montreux Riviera, just on the other side of the lake, actually.
Perfect. So what do you think is so special about Montreux Riviera, and why is it a must-visit destination for anyone who's coming to Switzerland?
For me, it's a little piece of paradise. Actually, I think it is Switzerland, but it's still different. It's Switzerland with a Mediterranean flair. So you have all like what you expect from Switzerland. We have like the mountains, we have the lakes. You can find like these green meadows with cows, but we have the palm trees. It feels a bit Mediterranean. It has a little French touch, and it is Switzerland in a nutshell. So within 1 hour, you reach the eternal snow. So within one hour, you're from the lakefront with the palm trees and this like more Mediterranean feeling to the eternal snow on Glacier 3000. So I think this compactness and this Switzerland, but still being different, makes us very unique.
Definitely. So can you tell us about some of those top sites and the main attractions that draw people to Montreux?
Yeah, I think there is plenty, but if I would have to highlight, I would say 5. I would say it's already 2, which you can see on the pictures behind me. One is like the boat cruise on the lake, which is a must do. It's very scenic, and I just try to move. I move into the other direction so you can see. It's actually all old paddle steamers on the lake, so it's very scenic to do a ride. And then, of course, you have to visit Chillon Castle, which is the most visited monument of Switzerland. It's a medieval castle, and once you enter the doors, you step into another time. So one of the must-dos and very great to combine. But then you should also visit Chaplin's World, which was the home of Charlie Chaplin for the last 25 years of his life, and which is a place full of emotion and a deep dive in these 2 black and white movies, which we all still know, funny enough. And then, of course, we love wine. Switzerland's not well known for its wine because we drink it all ourselves, actually. So it's just about 2% which are exported. And we are a wine destination. So it's called the Lavaux, the vineyards of Lavaux, and you should definitely visit and have a glass of wine on one of these beautiful terraces with one of the wine growers when coming to us. And if you have some more time, why not doing a mountain excursion? I mentioned it before. So there are train rides directly from Montreux to, for example, Les Rochers, which is our home mountain, or have like one of these scenic train rides on the Golden Pass Express to Interlaken. But these are just a few highlights. You see, there's so much to do. But I think if I would have to mention 5, these are the 5.
Okay, excellent. Now, I might actually ask you just about some of the other things too that I often hear mentioned that people are keen to visit. So music fans know that Freddie Mercury spent some of his lifetime in Montreux. So what are the Freddie Mercury themed attractions, I guess, in Montreux?
Thank you so much for the question, Caroline. Yes, it is. Montreux, it's quite fun. There are just 25,000 people living in Montreux, and it has such a rich music history. So for music lovers, they should definitely do a Freddie tour. So that's quite a new offer. They started in 2020. But it definitely is a must-do as well when coming to us. It's on the footsteps of Freddie Mercury at once, so you see where he lived. You learn loads about Queen. You learn loads why he actually loved Montreux and what they all did in Montreux and what kinds of songs were written in Montreux. But it is also a history about, and loads of information about the music history. So it's about the casino burning down, and I'm sure you all know the song "Smoke on the Water" from Deep Purple. It's the story of this da 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 da, and then when we all came out to Montreux on the Lake Geneva shorelines, and you hear the whole story about all of this music history in Montreux. I think the Freddie tours are a must-do for music lovers, and then for the ones who would love to experience music as such, there's so much as well. So, of course, the famous Montreux Jazz Festival, where we're so lucky to have it every year, the first 2 weeks of July, with loads of big acts, not just from jazz. It's actually in the meantime, it is just a music festival. This year it'll be so different because our Congress Center is under renovation, and this main scene will be outdoors directly on the lake. So they're going to build a stage on the lake, on the waterfront, or on the water as such. And the visitors or the ones participating in the concert, looking the concert, they'll stand on the lakefront and having like this beautiful scenery behind them, and of course the band as such. So that's for music lovers. But there's much more maybe not like general music festivals, but there is a very well-known, internationally well-known jazz festival called the QE Jazz Festival. There are classical music festivals. So we are, since last year, a renowned UNESCO city of music. So we are entered in the UNESCO Montreux. The city of Montreux is entered in UNESCO and is now recognized as a city of music.
I'd also like to chat just briefly about the beautiful lakeside promenade there. You mentioned that the jazz festival, there's going to be a stage out on the water, but just during the day, wandering along the promenade there, and you can actually walk from just below the old town of Montreux to Chillon Castle there, and it's just so picturesque with all the flowers alongside it. How long should people allow to walk between those two places?
So it definitely is very scenic, and I think it's the best way to commute between the city centre and your castle. It takes about let's say 1 hour, because I think you'd have to stop once or twice to take some pictures. So you wouldn't walk a full hour, but let's count with 1 hour to make sure you have enough time to take pictures and maybe even sit down. It can even take longer and have a drink along the way. It is so scenic, as you said, because you can see once the Chillon Castle you're approaching, but then also the lake and the snow-capped mountains in the background, and all the flowers, as you said. So and you'll see, if you come to Montreux, you'll see it feels different. It feels a bit Mediterranean due to the flowers, but also due to the trees growing there. So you'll have this scenic walk, stroll along the lake, and it's very easy. It is as it is along the lake. It's actually flat. There's just one little part at the end where it's going a tiny little bit uphill, but otherwise it's all flat and easy walking.
Mm-hmm. It is. And in the other direction, you can actually walk to Vevey, another town on the Riviera. And I know there's a few things that are very worthwhile visiting there. So would you like to tell everybody about those?
Oh yes, with great pleasure. I love Vevey. It's different to Montreux, even though it's just about 5 kilometers from Montreux, but it is different. And one of my very favorite parts is the old town. It's very picturesque. It's very small, but it kept its authenticity. Do you say so in English? I'm not sure, but maybe you understand what I mean. It's an old town, but you can, thank you. Yes, it's all very authentic. It's an old town, but with loads of shops, but you cannot find the big brands, but you find loads of small boutiques. So it's definitely worth a stroll because it's very scenic, but also because you can find some hidden gems and some maybe things you wouldn't find elsewhere. But then as well, same as in Montreux, there's the lakeside promenade, and in summer we have loads of bars, and in the meantime, like decks where you can do some sunbathing and just have a stroll and just enjoy yourself and just relax.
And what about that big fork that's in the lake?
Yeah, that big fork is the landmark of Vevey. You know Vevey very well, Caroline, or the whole region. It's very exciting. It's actually there is a fork in the lake, so you can take pictures with the fork, with then the lake and the mountains in the background, and that's due to the alimentarium. And the alimentarium is the museum of nutrition. So it's all about nutrition. It's very interactive. You can like walk through an stomach and discover the way it works. And it's about ourselves, our body, but also about the nutrition as such. So it's definitely worth a visit. If you have some more time, you should not just take pictures of the fork in the lake and of the statue of Charlie Chaplin just behind, but also go and visit the museum as such. Very interesting.
Wonderful. So with so many things to see and do around Montreux, what about accommodation options? Are there different kinds of accommodation that people can choose from?
Oh yes, it all depends on their needs. It's from the youth hostel to the palace. We have all different categories. What's great is they are all, or most of them, are really offering stunning views, a great service quality, of course, depending on the quality on the let's say the youth hostel won't have the same service as the Fairmont Le Montreux Palace, for example, which is totally normal. But what's really amazing, what they all have, is also the Montreux Riviera Card. That's our guest card, and for everyone staying overnight, even if it's just one night, they get the guest card free of charge, and that entitles them to use the public transportation free of charge and get loads of discounts on excursions and attractions. And for example, all the ones I mentioned, you get a discount. So you get a discount for the Chillon Castle, for the boat cruise, for the Freddy tours, and so on. And we've mentioned it before. It's all within walking distance, but it's still quite easy if you can just walk. You walk to Chillon Castle, for example, and then on the way back, you want to hop on the train or on the bus to go back to the city center. You can do so, and there is no hassle of taking a ticket. It's all included in this Montreux Riviera card.
Yeah, great. And do they collect that at their accommodation, or do they need to go to the tourist office?
No, it's directly at the accommodation. So once you check in, you get the Montreux Riviera card. Some hotels leave it in the hotel room, but mostly you get it while you check in. So this
Okay.
is, and it's complimentary. So everyone gets a Montreux Riviera card when staying overnight in Montreux.
Great. So is there any sort of particular part of Montreux or the Riviera that you recommend people stay, or again, does it depend on their budget and their needs?
I think it depends on their budget and on their needs, mainly their needs, I think, more than their budget. But if they want to be in the city center and everything very close by and just go to a bar and to a restaurant and have a stroll to the lake, then definitely in the city center of Montreux or Vevey would be great. But why not staying somewhere in the middle of the vineyards when you're quite isolated? So you're not surrounded by bars and restaurants, but you have one of these stunning views. So it really, as you said, it all depends on their needs.
Yeah, wonderful. You mentioned there about the Montreux Riviera Card and how it includes public transportation. So if someone's coming to the area, do they need a car, or can they just rely totally on public transportation?
They can rely on public transportation. It's really easy, and you can reach everything by public transportation. So if you want to go to the vineyards, for example, you can hop on a train and go to Chèvres, and then you can go to a wine grower, which is just 5 minutes from the train station, to have a glass of wine and to visit the cellar. Or if you want to go to the whole main excursions, you can do it all by train. So I would actually say best is to travel by public transportation. And for the ones traveling within Switzerland and combining different destinations, they could even buy the Swiss Travel Pass, which entitles them to use all the public transportation, and that includes the boats, which is very interesting. And to just hop on the train. It's actually like our Montreux Riviera card, just for all Switzerland. And of course, it's not complimentary, unfortunately, but it's really worth the price. And it's not just for all the public transportation, but also for all the museums. So with the Swiss Travel Pass, you can hop on the boats and go and visit Chillon Castle free of charge means it's actually included. So I would suggest people to travel whenever they can by public transportation.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you mentioned, the Swiss Travel Pass is great for people that are exploring more than just one area of Switzerland. It's very, very good value. What is your favourite time to visit Montreux? If you were speaking to someone and they were up in the air about when should we visit, do you have a favourite season?
My personal favorite seasons, I think, are from spring to autumn, where it's a bit warmer. But then at the same time, I love like the Christmas market, which is always in December, normally from around the 24th of November to the 24th of December, which is very, very picturesque, as there are about 150 chalet houses along the lake, and the whole atmosphere is very unique. And we have like the Santa Claus flying above the Christmas market. So I love this time of the year as well. And then I think what I really like is that the fact it's open all year round. So in summer, it's or in the warm times of the year, so from spring to autumn, it's a paradise for just having a stroll and sit down and enjoy the lake and jump into the lake and enjoy this more Mediterranean feeling. But then in winter, we're just half an hour from the ski slopes, so it really depends on on again what the people who asked me are looking for. But you can see, Caroline, it's hard to define when it's nice to travel. I think it's just nice to travel all year round.
Yeah, definitely. So if someone is thinking of visiting in winter and they're thinking, well, Switzerland, it's a mountainous country, it's going to be cold. Is that the case in Montreux, or are temperatures a little warmer than in some other parts?
It's definitely a little warmer than in some other parts. We're not, just to make sure no one expects us to be a ski in, ski out destination. We're not one of these traditional ski destinations. Some people think of Switzerland in winter, but we are, as I said, we are just a half an hour from the ski slope. So if someone's looking for a combination of a destination which is not too cold, so it can be 5 on a sunny day, it feels warmer, maybe 10 degrees in winter. But it's a great place. In half an hour, you're on the ski slopes, but you can still in the afternoon then visit Chillon Castle or go to a Chaplin's World. So to combine the winter sports activities with some cultural parts is something I like a lot about Montreux.
Yeah, that sounds great. So if you were had to give someone a one-day itinerary, if they were coming to Switzerland and they just had one full day to spend on the Montreux Riviera, what would you suggest that they do so they get the real Riviera experience?
I think I'd say them to stay longer. But if I have to squeeze everything in within one day, I think very important is to have time to enjoy the scenery, to enjoy the atmosphere. We love good food and good wine, so that's very important. But then to get most out of it, to have like more have attractions, and still time to enjoy life, then I would say maybe start with a visit of Chillon Castle, and then a boat ride to Vevey, have lunch in Vevey on the beautiful lake shores, and then in the afternoon visit either Chaplin's World or go to the vineyards to have a glass of wine. And depending on the time of the year you're traveling to Montreux, in the evening, why not going and enjoying a concert? A jazz concert, a classical music concert, or if you're traveling in the first 2 weeks of July, even a concert of the Montreux Jazz Festival.
Definitely. And we've mentioned there a couple of times Chaplin's World, and I have to say that when I first knew about Chaplin's World, I thought, it's probably just a museum, but I did visit it the last time I was in Montreux, and it is just amazing. So for anyone who's sort of not sure, thinks I'm not really into museums, it's definitely worth visiting because it just offers so much, doesn't it?
It does. I'm very glad to hear. It's hard to put a word on it, actually, because it's like in 3 parts. So one is this mansion where he used to live with his family, and the family chaplain still lived there until the 2010 years. So there it's about his private life, who he was, who were his friends. It's about him as a personality. And then this beautiful house stands in an amazing park where you can have a stroll and enjoy the views and enjoy actually all the trees. It really invites you to stroll and enjoy. And then the third part is the studio, which they built especially to open Chaplin's World. And there it's a deep dive in these black and white silent movies. And you step into the scenes and it's very interactive and it's full of emotion and everyone gets something out of it. And you can be sure that you leave this place with a big smile in your face and it touches you. It's, as I said, and as you said, it's hard. It's hard to put a word on it. And it's not just a museum. I think a museum is maybe not the right name for it, but then anyway, you have to name it somehow. So we call it a museum. But it is very, very interactive and very emotional and very good fun. And for everyone, so even for kids who do not know Charlie Chaplin at all, you can be sure that they really enjoy themselves when visiting it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think some of the facts that you learn, I think if I remember correctly, he was the first actor to be paid $1 million for a movie or something like that. And that was so many years ago. It's just incredible.
Yes, he literally was a citizen of the world. If you can see just how he traveled and how he promoted his films, and he did that in a time where he didn't travel by airplane. And if you go there and you see about himself, about the way he used to work, about the genius he actually was, as he did all himself. And then you watch into the scenes of these films. It's so emotional and it's such good fun and so interesting. And as you said, you learn loads about Charlie Chaplin and about films, and it's definitely something you should visit. You shouldn't miss when coming to Montreux
Yeah.
Riviera.
And it's so significant that there's even a bus stop right out the front, isn't there, called the
Yes,
Chaplin's World
yes,
bus stop. So it's
yes,
easy to
exactly. Very easy to travel to. Again, everything is so easy to travel to by public transportation. So and this again will be included in the Montreux Riviera Card. So if you stay in Montreux or Vevey and you want to go and visit Chaplin's World, it is so easy to reach it and it's easy to get there and it's impossible to forget it.
Yeah, wonderful. Now, we've talked about some of the main attractions. Do you have any lesser known sites or perhaps hidden gems that people might not hear about in a regular travel guide that you'd like to tell us about?
So yeah, I think one's in Montreux itself, and it's actually its old town, because life is all along the lake. Most of the restaurants are along the lake, the bars are along the lake. People are having a stroll. Life is along the lake, but then a little bit in another part of Montreux, a little bit more on the hilly side, is the old town of Montreux, and it's very small, but it's very picturesque, and it's definitely worth a visit. And something else for history lovers could be like the Fort de Chillon, which is a military fortress, which became a museum. And it's very interactive. You go in there and you learn loads about the Swiss history, not just like Swiss army history, but the Swiss history as such. And it is, I don't know if you have ever been, Caroline, or if
No.
you should visit next time you're coming. It's quite new. They also wanted to open in 2020. At the end, it was a bit later, unfortunately, to COVID. But it is very interactive, and it's actually the same scenographe, I don't know the term in English, as in Chaplin's World. So it is very interactive. You go in there and you learn loads, and you enjoy yourself. Again, everyone, the whole family does. So for someone who is into history, Swiss history, then that could be something really nice to visit. And you can combine it easily. You have the Chillon Castle, which is the medieval military fortress, if you want to say so. And just on the opposite, within the mountain, you have Fort de Chillon, which is the more modern military fortress, where it's more about the modern history of Switzerland.
Fantastic. All right. So, is there anything else that visitors should know about Montreux Riviera before they come and visit you?
I think Freddie Mercury said it very well. If you want peace of mind, come to Montreux. And I think that wants to say it all.
That sums it up pretty well, I'd say. Thank you so much, Martina, for giving up your time and sharing all that wonderful information about Montreux Riviera. And I hope that we've inspired a lot more people to add Montreux Riviera to their Swiss itinerary.
Thank you so much, Caroline, for the occasion. Thank you that I could talk about the destination I love so much. And of course, if you want to know more, you can visit our website, montreuxriviera.com, or you can find us on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram. And we're from the Tourist Board, we're always also happy to help. So don't hesitate to get in touch with us. We're very happy to get all your messages and mails and calls.
Fantastic. Thank you again.
Thank you.